We're talking about the respect of our elders.
Right.
So go on.
They Dr. Brito is, Dan's age, and I look at him as a young guy, and even though I have respect for him, I think it's more personable on my level to address him with his first name, which he's always liked. And when people in sales, when you're talking to somebody, you address their name. You make sure you input their name so that they feel like this is a conversation that works for both of us, back and forth.
Right.
Don't call me Mr. Mitchell. Don't call me Mr. Mitchell, please. Just call me Chris. And then they might return and say, "Well, I'm not Mr. Anderson.
Yeah.
Call me Nick."
Yeah, we have our kids' doctors, the kids' doctors that they've been going to since they were birth. And she's Dr. Paige Myshide, and she insisted for years, just call me Paige. She, we still call her Dr. Myshide and tell the kids to talk Dr. Myshide and call her Dr. Myshide, but she insists on Paige.
Mm-hmm. I think it also, with a doctor like my doctor, my urologist, they like when it becomes personal like that, because it relaxes the environment that you're
the relationship and the environment. Yeah,
right.
It depersonalizes it. It's just very loose.
Right. When you're doctor-patient type thing, there's a little more anxiety. There's a little more of I don't accept that, even in sales. I'd rather have it more on a personal level. That's why I always love the empathy.
Yeah. Well, it's like even as an uncle for years. So Donna's tradition with her family is uncle this, aunt that, whatever. They've corrected kids like Gage saying, "You call him Uncle Todd." I'm like, no, just call me Todd. Just I don't care. Call me Hey You. It doesn't matter to me,
Well, Uncle Todd. I mean, that means that's a lot for a young child to say, because it means it has a flavor to it. It's Uncle Todd. It's not just Todd that everybody can call. This is my uncle.
Yeah, okay. There's some value there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's interesting. I never thought of it like that. Yeah.
Grandpa, they don't call me Chris. They call me Grandpa.
Okay, I hear that. That's a good point.
It's a title that they like to hear because it means it's comforting.
That's a good point. That's actually a very good point. It's just like mom or dad.
Yes.
Next door, we have some neighbors that the daughter calls her mom and dad by their first name, and I've always thought there's an example of what I think is disrespectful. Just it's not appropriate.
Right.
I often will ask doctors or certain individuals what they'd like to be called. Even my friend Yang, he has a doctorate. He's a doctor, and he no, you don't call me doctor. He's just either Yang or Lausha, which is teacher. In fact, I just recently I saw his old mom walking behind, and she went over to wave. And I asked him, I says, what's the polite thing to say to her? Like in your language, in China, how do you say hello? She was a teacher once, a retired teacher. So a Lausha is a teacher, and her name is Lu. So it's Lausha Lu. You just say, "Hi, Lausha Lu." And it sounds funny to us, but that would be, to them, that's a respectful way of addressing that person. So learning that by asking what you prefer to be called. Mm-hmm. And nowadays it's tough because now we have the pronoun thing. Are you he, she, it, them, they? So there's a lot more to that. But I think fundamentally it's a respect issue.
I don't accept the pronoun thing. I don't accept that. It's either a first name or a title.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go. Pretty soon you're going to be having to say it's Christopher Eugene Mitchell. That's what it is. With
the whole name. The whole name.
Don't call me Chris. Don't call me Dad. It's Christopher Eugene Mitchell.
They call it the whole name.
Sure, Christopher Eugene Mitchell. Come on.
Well, that's the other thing too with this whole Sir thing. Like out in England, right? If you have the Sir title, it's just like you hear things like King LeBron James. Well, Is he a real king? I don't know the answer to that. Or Sir, what's the other basketball player? Sir.
How about Queen Latifah?
Queen Latifah. Is she a real queen? I don't. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't know the difference.
Her real name is Zeta.
Exactly. I don't know the real name. It's just bizarre. So I think what happens is when you introduce yourself to somebody, that's when you'll say, even when I met Fred, Karina's boyfriend, I introduced myself. I said, "Hey, I'm Todd. Nice to meet you." He says, "Fred." And then I introduced him to my kids. I said, "Fred, Tristan, Fred."
Yep.
So you learn a lot by introductions.
Right.
And correcting people. The thing is with me, one of my nephews or nieces says, "Hey, even TJ called me Todd." I didn't correct him. "Hey, it's Great Uncle Todd." I don't want to be Great Uncle Todd. Just
if he wants to call you Todd, then let him call Todd. I mean,
all right. I don't get offended by it. That's my name.
Call me Pop when he's 30 years old if I'm alive.
Pop. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
He's comfortable. He's used to that.
Yeah. I get all mixed up when I had him because I'm thinking of my sister Sarah, so I kept referring to Sarah. Sarah was, I'm like, my sister's Grandma Sarah. Oh yeah, I know who that is. Man, titles or something.
Well, how about your kids? I'm Grandpa. He's Grampy.
Right. They have a Grampy and they have a Grandpa. You're Grandpa.
Right.
And a Grammy and a Grandma.
Yeah.
There's so many titles. Me, Mama, Pop, Poo, Pee, Pap, Pee, Pop, Pop, Pee, Pop, Pop.
Have you ever known a friend of yours, or any acquaintance that calls his mother Mommy?
Mommy.
Because there are some. In fact, in this
adults.
Yes, there's this in the Suits that I'm watching.
Yeah.
One of the investors is on the phone. He's a very high-powered investor. He's talking to his mommy.
Oh, that's funny.
The secretary picks up on it and says, "Excuse me, what did you?" That's my mommy, and I've called her mommy.
Well, think of my grandmother. My grandmother, I named Nana. Because when we were kids, we were into the Peter Pan phase, and the dog's name was Nana. We ended up calling her Nana. It's really Jeanette, or Nettie. Like your friend Greg calls her Nettie. Yeah. So you got Nettie, Nana, Jeanette,
Bops.
Jonathan calls her Bops. Yep. There's 4 names.
Yeah.
What's in a name?
But that's what I'm saying. It's whatever's comfortable for you as a person. Are you comfortable saying that too? I'm comfortable saying, instead of Dr. Brito, Joe.
Right.
And saying Dr. Patel.
Maybe when you first meet them, though, you probably address them with Dr. So-and-so.
Until I start talking to them, and then I slip in without them really knowing it. Hey, Joe, come on, you're really...
Right. And you feel good about that.
And I see him respond the kids are fine. I mean, they're really, it's just, that's marvelous.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Good seeing you. We'll see you again in 3 months, Joe.
Well, let me ask you a question. How was that addressed in the military? Because wasn't there a rule in the military?
Oh, yeah.
And then does that follow you afterwards? Like Joe was telling stories about seeing so-and-so on the job sites or whatever and saying, hey, commander, or hey, whatever. It's like all this hierarchy, levels. I mean,
but is he more friendly with the associates that he's with? Mm-hmm. They can call him Joe. He likes the word Joe. He likes that name.
Okay, but let me ask a question though. If you retire from the Navy like you did, and let's say there is a commander back then, when you were in the Navy, you called him commander. Who's the top guy in the Navy to you back then? Admiral. Okay. When you're retired now and you see him, do you still call him Admiral? You see the stipulation that
relationship that I had with him. If I had a good relationship, like my store managers at Sears, it used to be Mr. Kinnear.
Okay.
He was a store manager. Then he became a state representative for Connecticut.
Okay.
When I saw him at the grocery store, I said, "Hey, Pete, how are you?" And
Okay. He was fine with that. Yeah. So that's interesting because, so you're saying now though, if you saw the admiral, you wouldn't say, "Hey, admiral," you know?
Again, it depends on the relationship. If I had if I was say how would I put it? If I was his male secretary,
Okay.
and I was with him all the time.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I
would out of respect call him Admiral such and such.
Yeah.
But when it's just he and I, he probably would say, call me Craig.
I see. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Dad. That makes plenty of sense. Like next door neighbor, her father's name is Gene, last name Casillo, and I've always called him Gene. I always feel funny about this, so I've been calling him Mr. Casillo because he's up in his upper 70s. I was raised that way though. It's Mr. So and so, like Mr. Randall up the road. We gotta use the right terminology.
I think you're old enough to go to him and say.
What do you prefer, Gene or Mr. Casillo?
We've known each other for a long time. Are you comfortable with me calling you Gene?
Yeah.
I really would like to call you Gene.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a good point, Dad. It's, again, asking permission and clarifying that is part of communication. Even the pastor at our church, I do call him Pastor Dave, but sometimes I call him Dave, and he doesn't care. But I could ask him, what do you prefer? What makes you feel, respected and, whatever? What's important to you? He'd probably say Dave.
They're going to die eventually. Why carry that to the grave with you?
Yeah, that's the point here. It's a waste of time to even worry about it.